Hello and welcome to another Tinto Talk video. This time, what I was planning on doing was waiting until maybe tomorrow when the new building comes out and then going back through all of the juicy comments on the Tinto Talks 11, which I'm currently looking at, and going over them. I was going to do that video tomorrow. Wasn't expecting that today we would have a bit of a bombshell, a bit of a extra juiciness. As you can see here in the previous dev diary, if the launch goes well of the Winds of Change DLC, he can ask the team to start the map feedback post later this week. And, well, the launch has gone well. Winds of Change has been, so far, pretty successful. The only real complaints that I've seen are about the price, and hey, it's a Paradox DLC, that's always going to be the case. But bug-wise, it seems stable, doesn't seem like there's any issues, and therefore we're getting maps. So, let's have a look at this lovely new map that we're getting for Project Caesar, which is, let's be honest, it's EU5. And it's the Low Countries. It's the Low Countries. We're seeing, of course, Holland, France, down at the bottom here, seeing Flanders, Brabant, the HRE is going on, and honestly, there's not a whole lot of differences between 1337 and 1444 that I can really notice. I mean, Holland probably has Zeeland. Utrecht looks the same. Gelre looks somewhat the same, although I can't remember. That's not owned by Gelre. That's owned by somebody else. But either way, it's relatively what you could expect. The big things to take note of here are, of course, the major river of the Rhine, and we also see a lot of minor rivers as well. And of course, these are all going to be very useful for proximity, and your trade and control of this area is all going to be affected by these rivers, which is going to be very useful. I think also, was it mentioned that rivers affected, like, fertility for farmland RGOs? Like, I don't recall that being a thing, but I also kind of think that I do recall it being. I might be wrong, but that might be something that would be useful. Either way, let us go and have a look at what is being said about this hot new map. Hello everyone, and welcome to the first post of Tinto Maps. It's a new weekly series that we're running about the top secret game Project Caesar. Yes, top secret. We definitely have no idea which franchise this is going to be a part of, or a new one. It's totally not EU5. Just don't even worry about it. This is written by Pavia, so let them introduce themselves. Some of you may get to know them from the development of the latest EU4 DLCs, but he might not be as well known to everyone as Johan. Here's Pavia, Content Design Lead at Paradox Tinto. Content Design Lead, that's actually pretty high up. Which he joined in 2021. Before becoming a video game developer, the background was as a historian, which led them to work on a PhD in medieval history, which they finished in 2020. Besides that, they spent several thousand hours of their life playing Paradox GSGs. Yeah, same. Since they discovered and started playing EU 20 years ago in 2004. Okay, several thousand since 2004. That seems like a lot, but I have like 15,000 since 2014, so I have you like maybe beat on the I'm probably beat there, because I don't know, maybe that's better. Whatever, let's move on. I'm getting embarrassed. What this new series will be about is quite straightforward. Each week they'll be sharing with you maps of new different regions, so you have an outlook of them, and we're able to receive early feedback because, as you may already know from Johan's Tinto Talks, there's a lot of work in progress stuff ongoing. Makes sense. About this feedback, we'd like you to be able to take into account a couple of things. The first is that we've worked really hard to gather the best sources of information available to craft the best possible map. They've used GIS tools, I have no idea what those are, with several layers of historical map sources from academic works, geographical data, administrative data, etc. to help us ensure the desired quality. So I'd greatly appreciate getting specific suggestions backed up by these types of sources, as others, let's say a Wikipedia map or a YouTube video with no references, This is definitely a reference to a couple of posts that I've seen on the forums. Um, why? Oh God, what was it? Uh, wasn't Smyrna? It was some place in Turkey. Uh, Aden or something along those lines. There was a post on the forums that was like, why does um, this country, I can't remember which one, own this when it should be owned by this Turkish beylik? Because of look at this source, and it was just a YouTube video and no references and a Wikipedia map. And yeah, no, just yeah. Um, The second thing to comment on is that sometimes a certain decision we made was an interpretation over an unclear source, while sometimes we have just plainly made some errors while crafting the map, which on a 30,000 location map is a normal thing. I'll let you know when any of these happen, and I'm also going to ask for your understanding when an error or bug is found and confirmed as such. With those forwards going on, let's start with today's region, the Low Countries. This is what the political map looks like. Oh boy! That is a thick-ass Luxembourg. I like that. Trier also looking hella fine. And we're... Honestly, this looks real nice. It looks very, very nice. Again, there's not too much that is going to be, like, standing out as, wait, what? They did this at this point? It's quite similar to what we have in EU4, honestly. Holland will look instantly recognizable. Frisia has most of the same land that it does in EU4. I guess East Frisia has been split off. Also, they're calling them Frisian Freedom, which is very interesting indeed. But yeah, most of the things look relatively similar and understandable, and yeah, there's not too much to say on it. The regional situation in 1337. The counties of Hainaut, Holland, and Zeeland are ruled by William of Avenses, or Avesnes, interesting name, who is married to Joanna, daughter of Duke John of Brabant. Another John, Duke of Luxembourg, might be the strongest power, as he is also the King of Bohemia. The county of Flanders is the wealthiest country in the region, controlling such important cities as Bruges and Ghent. Up in the north, we have other interesting countries, such as the Bishopric of Utrecht, or the Republic of Frisia. You might notice we're using a dynamic custom country name for them, Frisian Freedom. Interesting. And then we have locations, and oh boy, those are a lot of locations. That is a heck of a lot of locations. Just to put into context, for Holland, you start with 3 provinces in Holland. Den Haag, you start with Amsterdam, and you start with maybe it's Middelburg? I can't remember. But you start with 3. Here it's up to does this count as it? The Hulst? Here it's either up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. I can't remember if that one is a part of it or not. Basically, we're completely doubling across the board, at least, the amount of provinces. Like, for example, this would be Bruges here. This is more provinces than just, this is one province. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here is one province, Bruges. And then Ghent is similarly 6 provinces. So we're getting a huge increase in density, and I'm sure people will be poring over this with a fine-tooth comb saying, but this place should be called this, and that place should be called that, and all of that kind of bullshit. But, it is what it is, and, I have no reason to distrust what they've got going on. I have no knowledge about how 1337 borders to the minutest detail look. But hey, this is as good as it gets for my information, at least. We've had fun. We had a fun bug for some time. Antwerpen didn't have any pixels connected to the sea, which we found because we couldn't build any type of port building there. There's a happy ending as the bug's already been corrected, and Antwerpen can finally have a proper port. Antwerp right there, and I guess pixel connected to the sea right at the end of this, what do you even call that? Because that's not a river, that's like an inlet or something. We now have terrain, climate, topography, and the vegetation. It's all I guess that's oceanic. Sea at the end? Temperate? No idea. And then there's continental terrain as well. Here is... So that one's climate. Then we got topography. We got marshes and flatlands. We have hills. It's interesting as well because in EU4 this would be... there'd be forests here instead of flatlands or instead of hills. Whereas here we can have both hills and forests, or flatland and forest, or, you know, hills and farmlands, and, you know, mixing and matching where it is necessary is really nice. I still don't know what the difference between a forest and a wood is. I don't actually know the difference. I thought they were synonymous. I don't know. Woods are areas covered with tall growing trees. They're smaller than a forest. The word appears in the singular form, a wood, especially in British English. The main difference between woods and a forest is the size of the land area and the amount of ground fully covered by the trees called the canopy. So a forest is bigger than a wood. The forest is bigger than the wood. The forest wood. Maybe someone could write in the comments on this post. Maybe I'll do it myself, asking what the difference is to Tinto. Because I don't really understand the difference. I'm not going to lie. Maybe I'm stupid. But I don't know. We are aware that Netherlands looked differently in the 14th century, as several land reclamations took place during the late medieval and early modern periods, but we're using a 20th century version of the map for the sake of consistency. Most of the regions throughout the world would look quite different from nowadays, and documenting those changes, especially the coastline shapes, would be a non-trivial problem to resolve. As a side note, we already removed Flevoland from it, and we've already identified some of the modern ones that are slipped through, and we'll eventually remove them as well. So the Netherlands is going to lose a bunch of land, which totally makes sense. I imagine it will probably lose more before the end of this development process. But yeah, Flevoland, I don't know what that is, but it's a place in Holland that was, I guess, reclaimed and is included here, which has already been removed. People who are from the Netherlands probably know more. But anyway, we have cultures as well. We've got Dutch, Flemish, Frisian. Dutch and Flemish being completely separate as well is interesting. And okay, so like French is down here in the very bottom, right? I imagine this is French. Then Picard is in like a different color. Then there's Flemish in another color entirely. Then Dutch in its obvious, natural, orange state, which seems to be in the same culture group as Frisian, as it's quite similar color. But then if we look here, we got low something. Low... No, what would that be? German, like, that wouldn't that usually be... What's the culture up there? Like Westphalian or something? Rhenish, that makes sense. Ripuarten? Obviously the Walloons. I don't know. Lorraine or something, maybe? The stripes mean that there are pops of different culture inhabiting in those locations. Also, the German and French cultures are a work in progress. We'll show you a proper version after in the later Tinto maps. Maybe that's why Picard is not a similar color to the French one, potentially. Religions. Yep. Oh my gosh, we're getting raw goods. Oh, hello. This is very, very interesting information that we're getting very early. So somebody can go ahead and make a list of RGOs that we've got here. Some interesting ones that I'm not sure anyone was really expecting. Legumes. Isn't that like the little beans? Like what do they call them? The things that are really good in curry. Balls, I forgot the name of it. But they're legumes. Like bean, and isn't a bean a legume? I don't know. We've got fruit. We've got alum. Interesting. Marble there. Medicaments. My new favorite word, medicaments. Some clay. Obviously, salt and sand. Some wild game. Copper. Sturdy grains. Lots of... This is wheat. All this green is wheat. It's just kind of fucked on by the presence of the livestock. But yeah, okay, this is very interesting information. We've got gems down here, nice. Stone, iron, and coal that we know is going to be available from the very start of the game. I like this information. Let's go. Medicaments. It's such a good word. Goods get regularly swapped around here, and there has to be a balance between geographical and historical accuracy and gameplay purposes. So take this as a far from final current version of them. And then we have an additional map for this week. We have them all in the... Oh! Okay! So, hold up. Was it Tinto 11? No, previous dev diary. If we go over here and open this in a new tab, what we see is that the Low Countries here are in the London market, and that seems to have rustled some jimmies, and the Tinto devs have relented and created the Antwerpen market. That is certainly interesting. Certainly. So we now have the Low Countries in their own market and not a part of the London market. Very interesting indeed. We reinstated a Low Countries market centered on Antwerp after doing some balance tweaks that made it more viable. That's fantastic information. I love that. That is great stuff. Yes, I am definitely going to give that a big love because I enjoyed it. Let's do a refresh and see if there's any only dev responses and see if there's anything there yet. Because I am interested to see if there are. Are you planning on doing Tinto maps for all the regions of the globe? Weekly map feedback structured like Dev Diary is a great idea and I'm glad it's happening. Yes. Fantastic. Well, you heard it here. There will be more coming. Thank you very much to Pavia, the content design lead, for showing us all of these maps. I am very much excited to see how much more we're going to get. I hope we get, say, the British Isles next. That's obviously where I'm from, so I would be able to maybe know a little bit more about it than I do about the Low Countries. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you have any comments, critiques, feedback, leave in the comment section below. And hey, go onto the forums and leave them there as well. Because as we can see with this here trade map, feedback works. That's the big takeaway here. Feedback works. They listen, and that's the whole point of the Tinto Talks. To make Project Caesar, whatever the game ends up being, it's EU5, it's make it the best game possible. Feedback works, and yeah. The Low Countries. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you potentially tomorrow for going over the comments on last Wednesday's Dev Diary. I will see you then. Bye-bye.